Saint Denis of Paris, remembered 9th of October. The patron saint of Paris. Some accounts state that he was converted by St. Paul before travelling to evangelize France. However, the reality is that he was a 3rd century bishop sent out from Italy to establish a church in Paris as part of a group of 6 bishops sent out to create new churches across Gaul. The persecutions of Emperor Decius had almost eradicated the fledgling Christian community in Paris. St. Denis and his 2 companions settled on an island in the middle of the Seine, where the Roman governor had his residence and the home of the imperial bureaucracy. Here they preached, ministered to the small church, and cared for the poor, the sick, and the grieved. They continued peaceably for some time, until the success of their mission drew the attention of the authorities. St. Denis and his companions, St. Rusticus and St. Eleutherius, were beheaded on the 9th of October. Because of the way he died, St. Denis is often depicted holding his head in his hands. This is common with many saints, whose image shows the manner of their death. However, St. Denis is a Cephalophore. This is a name given to saints, or indeed to any individual, who carries their heads physically after they are beheaded. It is said that after his death, St. Denis calmly picked up his head and carried it from the city, preaching a sermon on repentance. Some accounts say that he went to his mother's home out of the city and that he kissed her. After his sermon, to the rather astonished crowd who had followed him, he died, and a local woman raised a church over the place of his burial. It is possible that the way St. Denis is depicted holding his head, and the location of his grave outside of the city, whilst his companions were buried within it, gave rise to this legend. However, it could just be a miracle. Other accounts have Denis's body being thrown into the River Seine, before being secretly recovered and buried by surviving Christians. Certainly, St. Denis made a great impact on the city he was sent to, both revitalizing the persecuted church there, but also caring for people in an immediate and personal way. Once patron of France and the French people, he is now patron saint of Paris only. St. Denis is remembered on the 9th of October.